it was like bullshit. Like,
No, but anyways, guys,
yeah,
we're live. I hope we're live. I think we're live. We'll give it a second. Put one in the comments if you can see us live right now. I have Beast on the call today, guys. Blake Watson, man, you're an absolute animal. Okay, not too many people at your age, 21 years old, comes in, purchases months in advance too. Doesn't he just do the week to week? He just like, no. What kind of deal can you give me? I want to put some money down on this. Let's get it so I don't have to think about it. I can just go. And oh my Lord, does he just go. This guy has been absolutely crushing our program. I think it's about 93K in submit in the last 2 months, which is amazing. Now, some of it might not be fully issue pages yet, but still very, very commendable, my man.
thank you.
Thanks for jumping on, dude. And ultimately, thanks for just being you. Like you absolutely crush, and you're just a pinnacle of what it means to like not get complacent, also not give up, and I think you're super accountable, and we'll kind of get into that. Recent stories and recent things that have happened in your life that you're still getting up every day and crushing it.
Right.
For the people that don't know who you are, maybe just kind of give a background of your experience in the industry and where you came from.
Yeah, obviously my name is Blake. My experience in sales, obviously only 21. I can't have too many years in insurance, but I came from door-to-door sales. So I used to sell with a company called EcoShield Pest Control. I sold 2 summers in there door-to-door, and then a lot of the guys from EcoShield started doing life insurance. And then when I was in the summer, kind of doing my thing, I was making pretty good money, but I wanted something that was long term. Obviously, something I could do when I'm in my 40s or 50s or 60s. Hopefully not, but maybe, right? Decided to give it a go after my second summer. I've only been a licensed insurance agent since December of 23.
Holy shit.
So I've only been selling for 7 months.
What? That's wild. Sorry.
Yeah, I had a pretty immediate impact with life insurance off the get-go. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I went to school for a year, dropped out, and then did the pest control thing, and then now I'm obviously doing life insurance. But yeah, I mean, I'm here now, so I couldn't be more thankful, and all my glory goes to the Lord above. So I can't be more thankful and blessed with my current situation. So that's pretty much it.
You've only been in insurance at a blip of time, truthfully.
I know. Yeah.
Why do you think you're crushing it? Like, as Cody Askins would say, shout out to Cody, 92% of the people will fail in their first year. You're coming in and just batting out home runs already. What do you think the difference is between you and 92% of the industry?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think this question is really important. I think the biggest difference is my background, obviously. Coming from door-to-door sales, it's very, very difficult and pretty cutthroat. And I mean, when I first started, my mindset, I wasn't focused on, how much do these leads cost? How much am I going to be spending? What if I don't do well? What if I don't do this? I was never really worried about the what ifs. I was more so just process oriented. I wasn't more so goal oriented. I mean, not goal oriented. I wasn't, I guess, money focused in the beginning. I was all about, learning the process of a new industry. I became obsessed really fast, and I changed my perspective on making money. I set high expectations for myself, and the high expectations, even if I fell short of my expectations, they were still really good because I set my expectations so high. So I had a really high bar for myself off rip, and a huge a credit to my success in the life insurance space is, to be fair, I was pretty stacked up on money. Because when you take money out of the equation and you stop worrying about how much money you'll lose and how much money you'll make, it's another thing you don't have to worry about. I wasn't worried about losing or winning. I just wanted to grow and get better at the job. And also, like, just with my sales skills beforehand and door to door, I was just used to the quick reps and continuing on and on with people. I just wanted to take the conversation as far as I could and learn as much as possible. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not a hard job. If like, once you get the rhythm and once you get in the swing of things, it's really, really simple.
And you do a really good job. Like, I was listening to your calls. You do a really good job of leaving no stone unturned. Like, even if you feel in like maybe the beginning of the call that maybe this person isn't a buyer or not, you're still pushing through and trying to uncover if there's a problem you can solve. And that's a key thing that it takes years sometimes for people to really do that, right? And a lot of agents, they're looking for, okay, is this person interested, ready to go right now? Or do I have to uncover pain points to really have them think about this? And you do a really good job of that. You recently just got married, and
Right.
I'd love to talk about what happened 4 to 5 days before your wedding. I'll give like little history before you get into it. I got a call from Blake, actually a message saying, hey, I'm going to have to take a week off. He sounded super disappointed that he had to take a week off. And I'm like, hey, man, you got to do what you got to do. And then you told me what happened. And for the folks listening, why don't you tell them what happened?
Yeah. So my fiance and I we went to the county clerk to get our marriage license. Just a normal day. Like, it was really nice out, just kind of taking it slow. Leaving the county clerk's office, all of a sudden this guy runs a stop sign, going about 60, 55, 60. I'm also going about 55, 60. And I T-bone the absolute shit out of this guy. And then, my car rolls 4 times. His is, like 100 feet away from mine, and just a terrible collision. And my car, like I said, rolled 4 times. And yeah, I mean, thank the good Lord that we're still okay. And thankfully that we came out of there with, bumps and bruises and maybe a concussion or two. But no broken limbs, no like internal damage. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but yeah, I'm just thankful to be here.
Show us a picture of your car. You were showing me earlier before we went live, but like show us the picture of the car.
It's pretty bad.
It's nuts.
Let's see here.
You are lucky to be alive, my friend.
I'm definitely lucky to be alive. The officers immediately thought that everyone in the collision was dead, but that's the
man. That's insane. That's insane. Yeah. And so I'd love to just chat real quick, because like you texted me and you're like, man, I'm just like, I'm gonna have to take a week off, and I just really wanted to keep the momentum going. And I'm like, dude, you almost died. Like, take a week, pal. And you're about to get married on Friday. Like, no worries. Don't stress. Don't beat yourself up. And I think that's a key component on how successful you are, because you just still remain accountable regardless of what's happening in your life. You're like, I got to get on. I got to do something. And within, 7 days, you're back on. And that's super, super commendable too. Like, a lot of agents, they would have used that to take a month off. They would have put themselves in a worse financial situation, and they would have blamed life for their shortcomings or what just happened. And they would have soaked in it. And I don't think you're the kind of guy that soaks in the BS of your life. I think you kind of just roll with the punches and keep moving forward. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty true. I mean, it's all about momentum in this job, and not in this industry. I think in life too. Like, it's all about momentum. And like, it was actually bugging me that I wasn't working, because I'm losing momentum. My paychecks aren't going to be as good, missing 2 weeks. So, I was sad, honestly. I was just disappointed that I couldn't work, because I love what I do. I love this platform that, you have the the opportunity to offer to agents, I think it's the greatest thing I've ever done. Right. But, I just think that I'm held accountable by the program, because here's why. Here's exactly why, and then why I love it. So with Unreal, it's pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not able to, work the hours, then you're cutting yourself short and you're losing out on money.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I'm held accountable by the time frame of the leads, from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. at night. If I'm off at any point in that time, I'm blowing my own money.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're just buying aged leads and just calling people, it's like, yeah, I don't have to work right now because I made a sale, or I don't have to work, because I already made a load of deals this week. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm spending $300 a day, $350 a day, and it's like I can't miss it. I'm held accountable by the program, which is what I love about it. But I think it's just the I guess the hard-headed personality and sort of like the taking punches, over and over again. It's what I'm used to, I guess, if that makes sense.
So you mentioned a key component to why we created the Unlimited program. We were selling per call for years. And what would happen is they would purchase a balance, say 25, 50 calls, and they plug in for an hour here, plug in for an hour there, and they're really never getting dialed in. And then 2, they write one deal, they shut off for the day when they're just getting their momentum. So the Unlimited program was not only to get more calls for the price, and we'll make money over the period of time, but also to keep us both accountable too. And so that way, what happened is when we created the Unlimited program, all of a sudden agents were working more. They were writing more because now they weren't thinking about the price per call that they paid. They're thinking about how many stones can I unturn today, right? Mm-hmm. And then also they're more accountable now because they're actually spending 6-7 hours a day taking calls and not just plugging in one time and another time 2 hours here, 2 hours there. When in fact, if you're just doing that, you're never really getting dialed in. So the guy that's in Unlimited compared to the guy on pay-per-call, when he's just jumping in for an hour here, hour there, he's not getting dialed in compared to the guy that's on Unlimited who's already taken 10 calls today, and you're taking 10 calls in 2 weeks, right? So by the time he's already at 10 calls, you're light years ahead of him in experience and just getting your process dialed in, right? Because all leads suck. It's really the process that you put them through. And if you can't get that process dialed in enough, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and you're starting from scratch every single day that you log in. And so that's why we created the Unlimited program, was to give agents, like, keep us all accountable, right? Mm-hmm. And make sure that you're getting the volume of opportunity each and every day. Right. Let's talk about your experience thus far. What's been, I guess, the biggest struggle for you jumping in from, you were saying you were doing a lot of door-to-door, maybe a lot of face-to-face sales. Mm-hmm. What was the biggest struggle jumping into telesales that you had to overcome?
Well, initially, I've never done in the field sales. I've always done tele. Cool. The biggest struggle jumping into telesales.
I mean, if you've always done it, it's kind of.
I would say the biggest struggle is finding ways to build trust over the phone. And with door-to-door sales, like, I'm literally face-to-face with you. And yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy to trust me because I feel like I'm a decently likable guy. And yes, I can be a likable guy over the phone, but at the end of the day, it's over the phone. I don't do business over the phone. So it was getting over that hump, building the trust on the phone.
What's, one thing that you absolutely love about live transfers?
One thing?
It doesn't have to be one thing. You can tell me more.
There's a lot of things. The biggest thing is not working 12 hours a day. Because when I was dialing 6-year-old mortgage protection, I was dialing from, this might be illegal, but 8 a.m. Eastern time to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So 12 hours. And it was just, I was getting burnt out
Mhm.
really fast. And I was like, holy smokes, I'm making a lot of money, but I don't know if I can do this anymore. And what Unreal does for you is it, allows you to condense the time, work 8 hours a day,
Yep.
9 hours a day. So you're basically buying your time back with the program. And that's what I love most about the program. I'm sure everyone says the same thing. So
And I think it's a common misconception too, is that live transfers are going to be some silver platter sale, but ultimately it's not that the ROI is going to be better. It's not that the ROI, your cost per acquisition, is going to be less, but your time to acquire is going to be cut into half. Right. And it's a predictability of, I know I'm going to have 10 conversations today, not hopefully dial for 3 hours, set some appointments, and have this guy hopefully be interested in life insurance or even want to have the conversation or show up to the call. Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to have 10 calls.
Yeah.
Right.
To be fair, too, with Unreal, when I was doing mortgage protection leads and like dialing the 6-year-old mortgage leads, I believe I spent like $1,500. And my second month doing it, I did 60,000 in a month. So it's I was making more doing that. It's just not sustainable throughout the year.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say I took a pay cut to do the live transfers, but what I wanted for myself was just something that I could consistently do year round, something I wouldn't get burnt out on.
Mm-hmm.
And something that's, obviously going to, make me consistent income where it's, it's good. It's really good. But for most 21-year-olds, I'd say, but yeah. So
if I was making that at 21, I wouldn't be here. I'll tell you that.
but, yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about Unreal. It's the condensed time,
It's just predictability where it probably wasn't there before, right?
Yeah.
What's one thing you don't like about Unreal?
Yeah, that's another good question. One thing I don't like about it is at the beginning, the leads were really hit or miss. It was pretty low volume, and I was kind of getting disappointed. I was complaining like, why am I only getting 4 to 5 calls today? And I was just like sitting here at my desk, basically twiddling my thumbs, doing nothing.
Yeah.
That was pretty frustrating. I'm sure you can imagine.
Yep.
So the calls are consistent, but they're not consistent as in like you can guess how many calls you're going to get in an hour or two.
Yeah.
It's pretty inconsistent throughout the day when you're going to get calls. That would be the biggest thing that I don't like about the program. But as of recent, I will give you props, Chase, is the call volume has been very, very, very good. So,
and so in the fluctuations, it's not like ultimately what happens is we'll have, say, 30 guys on in the morning, 15 guys off. So we have to turn down, right? Because then I'm just dropping calls because there's not enough people to take calls. So then the volume slows. Or like 1 week we'll have 50 guys on average, and then we're just trying to catch up to where we were last week. We had 15 guys on an average. So it's kind of a balancing act always, right? And so there's going to be fluctuations. And this kind of brings up a good point. You prepay months in advance, which is not a lot of people can do it, first of all. But what that allows you to do is there's going to be fluctuations on the day. There's going to be fluctuations on the week. But hey, like from what I paid, I'm already profited. Now it's just like all money at this point. Right. And so you're not beating yourself up right now when things do get slow. Or, it's a pain in the ass, but things are going to get better. And they do, and they fluctuate. Yeah. Right. But at the end of the 3-month term or whatever it might be, you can see that ROI. And so with anything, there's going to be fluctuations, especially a live system. There's always going to be things that happen. Internet goes out in the call center, or your internet connection sucks. Or there's just always going to be something that's going to hinder just consistency on flow. But at the end of the week, at the end of the month, you should be able to hit those numbers. And it's always going to fluctuate. We're not perfect either. Like we screw up all the time. And that's business, I think. Right, but we really strive to make sure that like if if we're not hitting the number, we're going to ensure that the next days, the next weeks, we're going to make sure that you get an increase too, right? And we track that. So we make sure that at the end of the month, at the end of the term, you have gotten enough flow to be able to get the results that you're looking for. If you had to, give a piece of advice to anybody that's looking to start or, just started, what would that piece of advice be?
The biggest piece of advice is I see a lot of people coming into live transfers because they're going to.
Are you on?
I'm live.
On the call. Let's go.
But put me on pause real quick.
Yeah, let's pause you. Speaking of volume.
No, but the biggest piece of advice is don't come into live transfers without much experience. Yes, I'm kind of being hypocritical. I didn't have much experience either, but I had experience doing big numbers. Right. So I was already familiar with how the game works. I learned really fast. But don't come into live transfers expecting outrageous numbers off the bat. So, make sure you have some experience under your belt when you come into live transfers, or else you're just going to get eaten alive. Literally. You're going to lose so much money, and you know the rest. And then another big piece of advice is one day Chase, him and I were having a conversation. I was giving him shit. And I was like, dude, whatever I'm doing, it's really not consistent. I'm not getting consistent calls. And he's like, bro, I tell you what, if you use the script and you just follow it verbatim, if you make 0 sales today, I will pay for your day. But if you make a sale, then it's just we both win, right? So I use the script, and that day I made, I think, 2 or 3 sales. So the biggest piece of advice is use the script and literally follow the script. I sit here at my desk and I read the script like someone who just started selling, just got into sales. I'm reading a script like an absolute noob, but it works. Yeah. It's so good. and the biggest thing too is I've added my own nuances to the script. I've taken some things out, but I really just followed the guidelines of the script. And I promise you, if you're likable, if you're trustworthy, and you follow the script, I promise you'll do fairly decent with live training.
So the script split tested or thousands of calls. And if you're new, you need to use it to build the foundation. Now you've taken hundreds of calls, you've taken enough calls that you can add your own nuances to it. But in the beginning, it's like read it verbatim. Don't try to change it up. Just read it verbatim. Here's a couple calls. Listen to how they're doing it. Are you still getting calls?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Sorry, guys. We'll be back. For a 2-minute intermission while I get on the call. I told the guys to pause.
Absolute nuke of a deal.
Well, we've been on for 23 minutes, so we'll wrap it up. I know you have some calls. We got to get you back on. Yeah. Where do you see yourself in a couple months from now, in a couple years? I know we've talked about it. Like you're fairly consistent, and we're going to make sure that this relationship keeps rolling for a very long time.
Right.
For somebody that's just started the program and they're probably not having results, I know you just gave some piece of advice, but any words of encouragement, because I know you've had struggles. I know you've had even your own personal struggles. And so give another piece of advice to somebody that maybe is just so down in the dirt and so blocked up in their mentality. What do you do to just kind of push through that wall? Because you've had tough days. You've had days where you were twiddling your thumbs. What did you do to just maintain a good mentality?
The biggest thing for me, as I know at the beginning of the call, you're like, Blake doesn't leave any stones unturned. So I would say for someone struggling, obviously use the script, I know it sounds crazy. Just do it. Like, please just use the script. I promise it'll be fine. But when there's days that I bagel and I make 0 sales,
Bagel.
I get
Love that.
frustrated. I get frustrated initially, and I'm like, son of a gun, I could have closed this or could have closed that. But at the end of the day, and after I let it sink in for a few hours, let it simmer, I'm like, you know what, Blake, I didn't leave any stones unturned. So as an agent who's struggling, make sure you're not leaving stones that aren't unturned. Because
Yeah.
if you unturn all the stones, I mean, you're gonna make sales. And another thing too is really just consistency. I mean, consistency is really important with the program. Stay consistent with it, because if you're taking, you're working 3 days in a row, you're taking 2 days off, and it's hit or miss each day because you have, you know, I guess outside problems or whatever's going on in your life. Just make sure you're consistent and sticking with the roadmap that Chase has given us. Honestly, I mean that's like the biggest thing. I just think new agents or agents that are struggling, they're not leaving. They're leaving money on the table. It's because they're not willing to give it and take it that extra step.
And for the guys that are sitting on the sidelines and have always thought about joining this program, what do you say to them?
That's a really good question. I mean, it's really risky. It's definitely risky. I mean, I think you can agree on that. It's risky.
I think all business is risky for sure.
It's a risky, thing to do with live transfers. I mean, that's obvious. But my piece of advice for people who are sitting on the sidelines thinking about doing it's literally the greatest thing that I have ever done in my work life. Like, it is unreal. Like, I'm not even just shooting Chase for, like, I'm being so honest. Like,
Thanks, man.
I am so grateful and so thankful for the program. The program has helped me out tremendously. And for people who are sitting on the sidelines, I think you just gotta shoot for the stars and aim for the moon, baby. I mean, just
I love that.
Like, I mean, you're with risks we take in life. I think that when you're winning and you're succeeding, there's really not much you learn, because you're doing so well. You're just focusing on how well you've done. But when you join something and you try something new and you start to fail, that's when you learn more than the success. So I would say just, with this program, fail fast and fail hard if you do decide to give it a try. And I promise after your first or second month, you'll be in my position as well. You'd be like, this is the best thing ever. Why have I not been doing this? And on top of that, as a person who was sitting on the sideline thinking about it, because I was in that position a few months ago, I was hesitant at first as well. But another thing is, you're probably stressed out now sitting on the sidelines because you're worried about how much you're going to spend in the program. A lot of the risk a lot of the stress is minimized with Unreal, because you don't have to focus on your CRMs. I get there's a CRM with this, but like, when you're dialing Facebook leads, there's so many external factors that come into place when you're doing those things. So it's, I'm putting a lot of risk on Unreal to perform on their end, so I can do really well. They're doing work for me. It's just I don't really, I guess, see the work they're doing for me, but it's amazing because a lot of free time gets opened up with it. And I mean, yeah, I guess that's really my piece of advice. I think it's there's really no like golden nugget I'm gonna give you for like advice to join Unreal. I think it's really just your decision at the end of the day. I can tell you as much as you want, but if you're not willing to make the sacrifice, then it's not going to make sense.
Man,
so,
well, I really appreciate you jumping on in, and hopefully we are together for many more years to come, because you're an absolute beast and an awesome person to chat with. Your personality is fantastic. I love your mindset, and we get along. Like, he's a cool dude. And so
You probably tell everyone that, but
for the guys that are listening, give a round of applause for Blake, because very new to the industry in respects of 10 years, little blip in a 10-year career here.
right.
And then your demeanor, your accountability to yourself to just keep moving forward really shows in the numbers. And not very many people come into this program and have the mindsets that you do. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you, dude. And
I appreciate it.
We're so happy and grateful for you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I know it's been a long time in the works. We've been always wanting to do this.
Yes.
We did it. I hope in the future we have more meetings like this. Maybe it's like a different topic or other things that we'll be out on.
For sure.
Unreal really has done so much for me, and I want to give back to you guys as well. Not only does this help me out, but it also helps you guys out, with
for sure
having recruits do really well, and it also helps your program out. But
for sure,
I look forward to that, and hopefully
I'll let you
gonna call here soon.
I'm gonna let you get back on that phone and start making some money, baby. All right, we'll talk to you soon, sir.
That's good, man. Yep.